And he said, I have written many books. I have traveled the world. And then he started chanting and his eyes rolled back into his head. And this was spooky to me.
All right, back to my friend, Dr. Douglas Groothuis. We were talking about Hinduism, and I was reading in this chapter, Doug, in World Religions in 7 Sentences, when you were talking about Hinduism. You actually had a guru encounter when you were a young man. What happened there?
Yeah, I did, and I was not enlightened through it. I was, I think, about 18, and at that time, that would have been 1975. I was interested in Eastern religions, largely through some of the music I was listening to, particularly Carlos Santana and John McLaughlin. They were influenced by a form of Hinduism and a particular guru named Sri Chinmoy. And Chinmoy came amazingly to Anchorage, Alaska, where I lived at the time. And that's where I was born and raised. And he gave a public event. And I went to it with my short-lived girlfriend at the time, Heidi. And he came out in his flowing robes and uttered all these sayings, at best aphorisms. I don't remember too many of them. One of them was, doubt is poison.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
I doubt that question. Is that a universal thing? And what is going on? So he uttered these statements, and he didn't really look at anyone. He's kind of in this strange state, maybe a trance or something. And one of the people there said, we are here to learn something. We would really like to know what your teaching is. And he said, I have written many books. I have traveled the world. And then he started chanting and his eyes rolled back into his head. And this was spooky to me. I wasn't a Christian at the time. I had some Christian background from my family. I thought, first of all, why didn't he answer the question? I was philosophical enough at 18 that I knew this was the dodge of all dodges. And it was spooky to me. And after a while, I couldn't even look at him. And my girlfriend at the time said, I couldn't take my eyes off him. We broke up shortly after that for metaphysical reasons. But this is telling. This is telling because pantheism teaches that the ultimate supreme reality is beyond words and thought and any rational communication. So if you are to realize that your self is one with the universal self, and the statement I took is from the Upanishads, you are that, you are the ultimate reality. That's not anything you can argue for, because we're finite and limited. And this idea of an impersonal God is not the I am who I am, certainly of Scripture, but it's an unlimited supreme identity. But we are obviously not that, because we are limited in our knowledge, in our power. We have physical bodies that get old, we die. So how could we possibly be identified with the ultimate? Well, what you have to do to attain this, supposedly, is meditate and chant and practice yoga as it was originally intended, to be yoked with Brahman, to be yoked with the divine. And I was just telling my class at Cornerstone University, I teach an introduction to philosophy class, and we're talking about the Hindu, well, basically the general pantheistic worldview yesterday. And I said, I've been studying this and writing about this for almost 50 years. And Hinduism, was generally pantheism. Pantheism has absolutely nothing going for it intellectually. Nothing. And I remember studying this originally after I became a Christian, reading Jim Sires' chapter in his classic, The Universe Next Door, a basic worldview catalog on Hinduism. And it was called pantheistic monism, which is, Hinduism can go into Buddhism and Taoism also, but there's a very important strain of Hinduism that's pantheistic. And also I was a student for my master's degree of 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗍𝗓, who is a powerful analytic philosopher of religion and other topics. And he really grilled us that this idea, it's called ineffability. And 𝗧𝗍, of course, wrote on this as well. He wrote on everything, obviously.
Right.
But this idea that the ultimate reality is beyond words, beyond language, beyond concepts, beyond rationality, it's ineffable. And I want to say, well, if so, then shut up, sit in the corner, and keep meditating, because you have nothing to tell me, and you have no argument that could possibly support an idea that is so illogical and so counterintuitive. So that was my guru encounter. It was before I became a Christian, but I knew something was up even then.